شما وورو روت كوتشال المين أجن مرنو على نيمين دم رخبانو طوم برمت كوتشوار وقدج الباتورة هانا تساقوديك وشرط خايب طاواتا وبركاتها من الواتغ باش مرة بدت لي تاوتاغ مشبختا شما وورو روخت كوتشال آلم المين آمين.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you very much for coming. Father Ashawa, Gussie, dear friends and family of Mom and everyone here today, thank you sincerely for being here to help us honor our most precious and beloved mother, Florence George. God bless all of you. I believe in her heart she considered many, many more to be our brothers and sisters, sons and daughters. This is a time to celebrate my mother's life because my mother is alive in paradise. As my mother's loving son, I bore witness to the extraordinary humanity she brought to this world. She lived by example and by her unflinching faith in the Lord. She was the living embodiment of the two greatest commandments: to love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and to love thy neighbor as thyself. My mother's love and her adorable smile were infectious. Her heart was always open, and she welcomed people with love. She loved to laugh and have people around her. Our home was always the centerpiece where everyone gathered. She was always there to serve at any time of the day. Hebrews 13, verse 16 says, "And do not forget to do good and to share with others, for with such sacrifices God is pleased." I believe that God was very pleased with my mom's spirit of sacrifice and service. She loved having her friends and family with her. I believe those were her happiest times. She lived her discipleship without special flair, but with a king of humble exuberance. It came so naturally to her. When my father passed on, I remembered him as someone whose heart was that of a diamond, an always welcoming man. My mother, I have always believed that God had given us an angel here on earth. Her faith and her spirit was the binding force that held us together in love. The infectiousness of my mother's love naturally spilled out to all those that she touched. Over these past few years, nurses, health aides, and others who would come to help her would immediately fall in love with my mother. When I shared this news with them recently, they all responded almost immediately with love for her. I always knew my mother was special, but I honestly did not know how many also knew that about her, and I am extremely grateful for everyone who has shared this love for her with me. I'm so blessed to have had nearly 56 years with her, as it is my birthday next Tuesday. Her willingness to sacrifice for her children, especially, knew no bounds, and she could pray like no one else for God's grace to visit those she loved, especially her children. Just one example: when I was around 9 years old in Australia, I was hit by a soccer ball in my eye, and blood completely covered my right eye, and I couldn't see. The doctors were going to operate on my eye the next morning, but my mom passed out 2 whole lambs, and I can only imagine how many prayers she must have said. When I woke up the next morning, I began to see out of my eye, and the operation was canceled. I will always believe God gave us an angel here on earth, and that angel was my mother. Romans 12, verse 1, speaks of the power of sacrifice. In our own way, we are meant to follow the example of Jesus. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is a true and proper worship. My mother's spirit of sacrifice has inspired me and my siblings to embrace sacrifice as a way of life. In recent months, devoting so much of my life to care for her was a privilege for me. I know that my sister and brother Ninos feel the same way. They were always there for her, and I know this brought great joy to Mom. My friends have said to me they have told their friends and family about how I took care of my mother, which made me realize this was God's plan, that even if one person hears this and changes the way they treat their parents and each other, then it only serves to glorify God. While sitting at my mother's side on February 7th, my sister Joyce was crying. She told me my mother was the person she trusted most. She was her mother. She was her sister. She was her best friend. She was so close to her that she had a special relationship with her. When I was younger, I used to always think of someone outside of the family who I would consider to be my best friend. It didn't occur to me until later in my life that truly my best friend was my mother. When you consider the characteristics of what makes a best friend, she encompassed all of it. What is a best friend? I believe and have come to know it is someone that no matter what will never deny you, someone who will always care and think about you, someone who will sacrifice themselves for you. For Christ said, there is no greater love than when one who gives his life for his friends. My mother sacrificed her life for us in ways I have difficulty describing. But at the center of all of this was her faith in Jesus Christ. She was always the one, the center point, the focal point that kept my family centered, a true guardian. How devout was my mother? She used to light candles several times a week throughout her adult life until I started helping her and I would light them for her. My nephew Tower remembers hearing my mother pray when he was younger. She would cry when she prayed. This was a revelation to me, that your mother could cry out of love for the Lord, for the mercy he shows, and for the blessings he bestows. My mother also gave me words of wisdom. Be a good Christian. Stay out of trouble, she would say. Count your blessings, your health above all, and don't let the affairs of the world trouble you. Focus only on being true to the Lord. There are many things Mom showed us. Love, strength. She was one of the strongest persons I've ever known. Kindness, forgiveness, loyalty, and absolute faith. Two other notable was her tolerance and sacrifice. She had a remarkable ability to overcome, which showed her superb ability for tolerance during the most challenging times of her life. Thank you, Mom, for these words of wisdom and humility. Right now, I feel the need to speak to my mother directly, for I know that she is with us. I ask for your indulgence as I do. Mom, I am happy that you are now in a place eternally peaceful in the presence of God, as we celebrate your beautiful life you shared with us always for the glory of God. Your spiritual presence has been and always will be with me. But I confess that your physical absence from my life is truly jolting. For the 2 months until February 7th, our beloved home, so associated with your loving spirit, felt like a stranger's home. The curtains drawn, the lights not turned on, the television not on, not hearing you calling me with your beautiful voice, not seeing you there. Mom, I never told you, but just prior to you going home to God, I would open the curtains and turn on the television and imagine you there laughing and smiling. It was demoralizing, not seeing you there, thinking of you suffering in an unfamiliar place, in pain and feeling that you might be leaving us soon. Yet, looking back at those 2 months, I realized that God was preparing my spirit and giving me strength. Mom, just as you always have. Thank you, Mother, for the power of your example. There may be no greater gift that a parent can share with her child than the gift of faith and the guidance to practice it. Mom, your gift is everlasting. There's something else I want to share that I rarely do outside of the family. My mother had these visions, powerful ones, and for this reason, I sometimes have visions too. For example, almost 20 years ago, on August 3rd, 2005, I recall the date and the exact time. It was 3 a.m. I was having trouble falling asleep. I would close my eyes and open them over and over, hoping to will myself to sleep. And then suddenly, I saw this maroon-colored curtain, much like the curtain at the altar at our church, St. Marziah Cathedral, opening quickly, and Christ appeared. Startled, I just said, Ay, Mshicha. His hair, his face, his robe, his entire body was glistening and sparkling with oil. I knew it was him, and I felt an exhilaration and a joy and a deep sense of comfort I had never experienced before. Was I in heaven, if only for a moment? I realized then that heaven is joy, and that all of life is joy, because the Lord is in heaven, and joy is Him. It's really that simple. But our troubled human minds, even our abiding faith, have trouble grasping it sometimes. My mother knew of my vision. She had many of her own. It only made her smile, I think, knowing I had experienced the same realm, this realm of pure joy. I know my own human discomfort at her absence will pass. It brings me much deeper comfort, though, knowing that my mother has found her home in the realm of everlasting joy for good. During this last year, and more frequently lately, she would tell me she was seeing her parents, my father, and others appearing to her. She saw my father often lately. When Jesus raised Lazarus, he told Martha, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, yet shall he live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Knowing this comforts me greatly. I'm so very happy knowing that Mom is with Jesus. I want to thank you all for coming to honor our mother. We are very grateful for that, and God bless all of you, and may He keep His healing hands on you. And I pray that you all keep Jesus in your sights while living in the present, the here and now, looking straight ahead towards Jesus Christ, allowing Him to lead you always. Before closing, I want to share one last living remembrance of my mother. Back in 2005, I wrote and recorded a song from words and melodies that just poured into my mind from God. Recently, I put together a video of images from my mother's life with the song as accompaniment. All of our mothers are precious. There is a special connection between a mother and a child, a spiritual connection that a mother has because she carries the child close to her heart. This umbilical cord can never be cut. No matter where in the world, no matter how far away, the spiritual cord will always be connected to the child of the mother. She fought and sacrificed for us. I fought with every fiber of my being until the last moment. I never gave up on her. I also realized just how remarkably strong she is. After her heart stopped for a minute or two, her heart came back to life again for a minute, astonishing everyone. Even the nurse was bewildered. She wasn't afraid of moving on, but she did not want to leave us without her. So, thank you again. for coming and honoring my mother. Please permit me to share this short presentation that I dedicate not just to my mother, but to all the mothers in the world who have sacrificed so much. Peace be upon all of you. Mom, you're with us in our hearts always, and we will always love you. Thank you.
Mama, you loved us so pure and free. Mama, you never asked for one single thing. So it's my turn to tell you how much I love you. I always knew that God had given us an angel. Mama, I would trade my life for just one more day with you. Mama, I'd do the impossible just to touch you again. So it's my turn to tell you how much I love you. I always knew that God had given us an angel. Yes, it's my turn to tell you how much I love you. I always knew that God had given us an angel. Mama, you meant the world, you were everything to me. Mama, your love was just so pure and free. Mama, you never asked for anything in return. It took a lifetime for all of us to learn. Yes, it's my turn to tell you just how much I love you. I long for you. I want to see you again. My turn to tell you, oh, how much I love you. I always knew that God had given us an angel. Mama, how much you suffered. You gave us everything you had. You loved us so pure and free. You never asked for anything for all that you gave. Thank you, Mama. So it's my turn to tell you how much I love you. I always knew that God had given us an angel. Yes, it's my turn to tell you how much I love you. I always knew that God had given us an angel. Good مرباي.
باي روني I love you بابي.
I love you.
I بتقول لك مرضيخة خالد ومريا كل شيء داخل جوا. اوكي انا ما كل جيسي نين وصبية روني بجيني شنو وطاوي سيربيا بجاني كله
وجويس.
جويس جاسولي روبرت مالي كوبتيبي يلا خيرت لنا خشيت
وستيف وين؟
ما أنا ستيف وين ما بقي جيسي كله خيرت مريا باي روني
باي.
I love you
I love you.
كل أخو باب I love you
باي.
خيرت مريا شو داخل دي بخير الله
أديب ختمخلا أيوما بسلوط البركتا على منيخلا نختت فلورنس على لسامة جمل بلاد شمية علىها قبل من كله قناها خلمت أو جيبوتا أخت متخرج أنا يوم دروتا اللي يوم تليتا نختا روت تعنيدة بتاعنا رازق ومرت مرزية من براز قربانة بتاعتا قد ختمخلا بورتا من طيبوته بطلابه وخ من طيبوته بطلابه وخ من أطرة باسيموته باي وخ خنانم توماي بربولي وخ كانت خاتن أيت سوبرة وشونيلا بأرخد كل علمة أخ تخب متولة قديا مارا وعودا أو إلى مارت موتو بلطانة شاوخ طياتو مبر نظنياتو خلو الكتماتي بشايوتة مرخمانوتي سبب ليت برناشد لخاطي كمت قداء المائيلة وبعلمت هازري من برشي طاوي مبيشة وكان من عوالي باش بريا كلنا شبي بخرم دتليخي الصباي وخربة مخشخلة مارا القيم تخقرتا قرآن ميترا وقليت بتواتي قام وكليتا من يميني بوسامة عم قديشو كتشقلتك كل شرايط بصرياتو العلمين آمين كن شبريخة كانز هي ومشمشان مقوبية مهمنة شارير بريق بدمي شو آية شغل شولي اديوم وتيلون الملاية بلبة خنواتي وشاروك ويقوتي وتمومه مزمان كتاود مرد قرمي تاخد واجبي للميتة لما كل شفاقت بصباي اللي زالم بدبخيم اللي زالم بدمشتوتا مدرخ ديما داينت خادي وبخيم عم داينت باخي بركاتا على هاياتا مبشطون أوراهم ونسخ والياقو بشبيخي اللوخن على البنونوخن خللوخن فخرو من شختة دلخة خلل مارن وآلهن فخروخن من شختة جناهي أملوشيتو لجلد قرطة ملوشلوخن جلد بهرب ملكوت طنوخن عرسو على روشانوخن أناند نهرة طيني فخروخن قد مبشطيتو لبقالي قديشة في شخويتي قالوخن عم قالد ملاخي دروبيلوخن أوبرا على القورو ربي مارن توس خطياتوخن داخل لا أول منوخن يالا لا تمم يوماني ولا ساود لا تمم شنة إلا مسقت قديشة بزونه وقايمته بضانو كله خن مغدادة خطم قبية بشيتم جميل أنبارش مياني آمين آني تخشاني نال برشت خزماني بماري ون أواهي خنواتي دوستي شواود من جنس ديما بابا لوشينا تازي وخشا خيلة على هايد كسيلة بمهم شاريرة أو هاوي عمي وناطرة من كل خزداقة أخش قلن لبش ليخة البرشان درابية مشادروخن مريا آلها ملاخت مسيم تتبارك هطئينا قوبتش طلم بيغانا ومريس على بواتي وعلى أوصر كميرة خشاوي وقالب لدها خشة وبشمتا وماشي الدمرتا من عيناتي ومال لبواتي خادوته بصيخوته كل يوم خيك شو مصيري من دام نختا مزيد المارن وآلهن الداني بيشانينا آمين بزي خانة قورتا صيتا داوانيتا خشلتا من روح القدشة كهنة وشماشة وكل طخص تنايز ويخرن يقرن ده دم تمشيخيتا بينات برشت وشونيلا بمزمور وتشبخياتي من طرد بيتا وهل بتقورا خنانة ورخمة من شمية شاري الله يؤاتي كل دانا مارن وآلهن هيرتي قابل قربانة وبسمالة بدوخة من مدبخة العناية المدبخة شميانايا بشم جمة تامة خزي الآلاء صهيون بشم مخشخ الشمي من بلد قالة مغدينتد أمرا تشيبو ريقي طاوم هم نيورون قادودة ماروخون آمين وإيمن زارخ بخرت الزونة مشيخة مارت كول على هاد الكول وإيمن آتي قد بايش خقيرة بقديش ومغزي أجبوياته بمهمنو إيمن قرية قرنة وشيبورة ونابر جودة جبرياتو بشي بتيخي طرانو دشمية بيش مبصة وباتشيول وقيمي ميتة من قولة الأخرى وبربا بعينا بيش بريشي طاوم بيشي وكين من عوالي بيش مخشخي كلن أم خاتن فلورنس شونيلن بيناتن دعال عنان نهرة بيش رجلي والقم بوخ القم تدمارن وتاما مسغة جبوختا بتخاتر موتا ونخاما وخوداتا الكنشن كل من ساقي رخمة وخنانة هاي بدا يموتا أدية وكل زونا والعالم آمين آمين على من يخلق